Once again, I welcome everyone to this discussion on digital adoption in BFSI, business opportunities for IT SMEs. We have with us Mr. Hanuman Tripathi,
Hi.
who is the Chairman SME Council and member of Executive Council at NASSCOM and co-founder #C Digital. Ever revolving thought leader with 38 years of experience, Mr. Tripathi has played the role of a leader and CEO for 25 years, building scale in BFSI software solution space for global markets. At present, he is focused on mentoring young companies and startups in the financial services tech space. Now I request Mr. Tripathi to introduce our distinguished panelists and take the discussion forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Neha. And thank you, NASSCOM. Very, very good morning, audience, and our distinguished speakers here. I hope Mr. Prasanna Lohar is online now. I
Yeah,
Yeah, very well, sir. Thank you. We'll be happy to see you, audience, to get to have a look at you. So thank you very much, all the distinguished speakers who have come in time today. Thank you very, very much. And a very good morning once again. So today's topic, what we are discussing here is digital adoption in BFSI and more specifically the opportunity sets which it creates for IT SMEs. Uh, we have very renowned speakers, people who have experience, deep-rooted experience in dealing with the industry's changes which have happened in last 3 decades. And they are people who have done exceptionally good work in the space of banking, in insurance, and in NBFC. You will be very pleased to meet our speakers today and get their insights. The the purpose of such kind of CIO Connect events which NASSCOM undertakes regularly or on a particular format continues on a monthly basis is essentially to provide our IT SME companies a foresight, an understanding, and of course to build their business plan to understand how the market dynamics are changing and what are the changing need of the clients, and specifically listening from the CXOs, the industry or the community is able to appreciate the kind of expectations which the customers, buyers have with us. Uh, this program was started many years back in association with CIO Klub. It is taking wings now in the past 2 years in a major way, and now we have a very formal relationship with CIO Klub. In fact, we are putting in a new format from September onwards, and we'd like to see that different industry domains and segments come together, and you get exposure to understanding how the industry requirements are changing continuously, and how you can as IT companies pitch to the CIOs and explain your uniqueness to them. Uh, NASSCOM has SME Council as one of its chapters, which is doing work with 2,200 IT SME companies in the revenue range of 5 crores to 250 crores in all sectors of services, products, BPM, analytics, and so on and so forth. Uh, these companies are spread all over the country, and we have a council which has 17 members from 17 different states. We focus in last 2 years, we have been focusing on three distinct objectives. One is to get our community, the entire IT SME community, future ready. And as you know that there has been tremendous changes on the digital forefront in past half a decade or so. And therefore to get our companies ready and on the speed on the digital side has been our focus. And towards that, we have been running many workshops. The other and a very critical service which a trade platform like NASSCOM should provide to the younger companies is in the space of market access. And we work in a very detailed fashion for domestic market access as well as international market access for our companies, both in government, in private sector here, and market development outside India. Third is the area which is the peer group, which is the IT industry engagement with each other in terms of finding collaboration, in terms of finding best practices and so on and so forth. For that, we do different kind of events and meets, and including in the COVID times of last 5 months, NASSCOM has been active almost 24 hours, 7 days a week, and ensuring that there is a tremendous community connect all across India with our customers and with our members, and also internationally in a big way. So with this background, I would like to introduce our uh, extremely valuable and distinguished speakers today. And it's my pleasure to introduce first Mehjabeen Taj. She is
Hi,
the
everyone.
technology leader, digital and customer engagement with Tata Capital. She is a strategic technology executive with track record in leveraging existing and emerging technologies for driving organizational growth, performance, profitability, and expanding intellectual capital and property. She has extensive experience in areas such as change management, business process reengineering, automation, digital transformation, and strategizing in all areas of change which happens on a regular basis. Mehjabeen has managed large-scale complex projects on both software application side and infrastructure domain in BFSI, as well as in manufacturing industry across many verticals, scale, and technology platforms. She has also managed P&L responsibilities across business applications. She has managed software development lifecycle end-to-end, IT infrastructure, networks, and endpoints. She has, and there's very amusing part, which is very interesting part. I think she should cover in her uh, note to say that she is a writer. She is a writer herself, and of course, an active panelist and a thought leader and a speaker. So welcome, Mehjabeen. Thank you for coming in today, and we would be very glad to hear from you soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very, very kind introduction. Thank you very much.
Then we have Mr. S.V. Sundar Krishnan, Chief Risk Officer. I call him as COO of Reliance Nippon Life Insurance Company Limited, because he has filled in many times from the CEO role onwards for many, many CXO positions. Sundar Krishnan is now over 3 decades in IT and IT related industries, especially in insurance. He has been last 14 years with Reliance Nippon, where he has been at the helm of enterprise risk management, internal audit, BCP, information security, legal, secretarial, claim, and compliance. So you understand why I was saying the previous statement. Sundar has judiciously used technology to implement risk-based strategy across these functions. His profile includes leading companies like DSP Merrill Lynch, ING Vasya, Credit Leone, Standard Chartered, Bank International Indonesia, Ernst & Young, and Deloitte. His experience spans over 12 countries in significant roles, especially in banking and operations. Sundar is a Bachelor in Commerce and Economics, Chartered Accountant, Certified Systems Auditor, CISA Certified Auditor. He is a Intercompany Secretary, Checkpoint Certified Security Administrator. It goes into 2 pages. So, and of course, he has done a risk management program from Asian Institute of Manila, Asian Institute of Management, Manila. He's a recipient of distinguished recognition from Institute of Chartered Accountants, who named him as Best Professional Achiever in 2011. It's my privilege to welcome Sundar here. Thank you for coming in this morning, Sundar, and hope to have a wonderful insight on all aspects of insurance industry and not just life insurance. So we'll be very glad to hear from you. Sundar, you are on mute, huh? But that's fine. That's fine. You can. Okay, now we have Mr. Prasanna Lohar here, our star banking technology speaker today. Prasanna is the head digital innovation and architecture at DCB Bank. He has been rated as a top 50 CIO. He has received an award as he is rated as a top 50 influential leader, top 20 BFSI thought leadership awardee. He is also considered among the top 100 security solutions influencer or security strategy influencer in banks, top 50 innovators, a blockchain consortium co-chair, and he has been a co-chair with FICCI. Prasanna has 18 years of experience as technologist and innovator who has delivered rock-solid software solutions for industry, leading enterprises with lean and agile teams. He has been a technical architect with view in articulation and decision-making skills to choose from multiple technologies in the presentation, integration, service layers, and operating platforms. A professional banker having experience in digital and innovation strategies. He has been a regular speaker, and I call him as a daily contributor to the industry panels and speakers. If you see his LinkedIn profile and you see the number of BFSI opportunities to understand what's happening in BFSI tech through seminars, you will find Prasanna as an important speaker in almost all the leading events which are happening in the industry. He has been a very strong leader in collaborative management across the lines of business, partners, startups, fintech, customers to drive win-win situations for all. He has versatile experience in delivering highly available services on multiple technology stacks and emerging technologies like cloud, blockchain, IoT, artificial intelligence, biometric, analytics, mobility, and security solutions. He has engagement experience with more than 30 banks and performed technical ownership and program management at international industry level. He has also been collaborating regularly with non-profit organizations like FICCI, DSI, that is Data Security Council of India, NPCI, and of course with NASSCOM. He has been especially kind to NASSCOM. He has been coming to us for various advisory sessions with our companies, and he has been coming and speaking in various seminars of NASSCOM. So very warm welcome to Mr.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm so grateful that you are here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
The format for this morning is that instead of me putting questions and interrupting the thought and the flow of the speakers, what has been decided is that we will have each speaker, and we have carefully chosen one from banking, one from insurance, and one from NBFC. They are experts in their field. They understand their nuances, and they know how to guide the industry, that is solution providing industry, extremely well. In fact, vendors are day in and day out of their calendar list and diarizing on a regular basis. So it's proper that I request the speakers to probably cover 15 minutes each on their industry. So for what we are listening, what we are hoping to listen today is first how is the trend in the banking industry, in the insurance industry, in the NBFC in terms of business trend. What is changing? What is globally changing? What is changing in your own environment, and of course in your own organization? And then, of course, after 1 or 2 minutes of a warm-up coverage on this, if you can please specify how is your organization or what is your organization implementing presently as new technology or as digital solutions? What are you handling presently? Then later, we also expect that if you could tell us how the COVID has changed your work from home technology adoption, and of course, how when you're back to office kind of a regime which is being built now, what are the technology stacks being changed there, or what kind of care which technology related or digital related changes is providing to the organization. And of course, lastly, which is what is very critical from this seminar's perspective, we wish to understand from you what is the future? What is it which is going to change in your industry and therefore in your organization? And what would you expect the IT industry to provide you? So this is a very wide coverage. Ideally, maybe a half-a-day workshop would have been ideal for you. but I'm requesting you, please take 15 or at best 20 minutes. If you could please cover this. And I also request the audience, this is a special request to the audience, please start jotting down your questions in the chat boxes, preferably with the speaker's name, so that we can select some of these questions and answer it at 12 o'clock once we are through with the speakers. So over to you, our respected speakers for today. I would first request the vision on the banks to come from Mr. Prasanna Lohar. Over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for such a nice introduction and for inviting me at CIO Connect program, Hanumanji. It is always a pleasure and honor to be here and to address all of our friends and along with other mentors. So I think banking today, what we have seen, and the banking what we will see in 2030 will be altogether different level of banking. Okay, but start of that 2030, how the banking should be there for our consumers, our SMEs, or our different type of generation. It all depends upon how every bank is doing their operations, business models, and how they are adopting technologies. What we have seen before COVID, or what we have seen during COVID, and what we have seen as a bank after COVID, there are different scenarios which we have seen. COVID was a one examination for every bank. How are we doing your BCP immediately within 24 hours? The day in Maharashtra government, CM has announced the lockdown. So for those initial 60 seconds, what could be the reaction of every CEO, CIO, CISO, or all the MDs of all this bank? It was very important. That would have really given a like who is really gonna handle that customer demand or day-to-day operations, or the surge of cybersecurity threats which will come during this scenario, and changing those your cybersecurity policies overnight, or to make your employees ready to work from home. And at the same time, while doing all these things in a backend, you have to justify and you have to be there for your customers. Now, customer who was earlier who was visiting your branches, now he is not visiting your branches. So what is that impact? Your branches are not operational. The real estate wherein you have invested so much of things, right? In those, it takes at least 40 to 50 lakhs to create a decent branch, and moreover, it takes 2 years to really make a break even for that bank. So look at so many branches we have created, and most of these branches are empty. At least for many multiple hours, these are empty. Employees are going there not completely for 8 to 9 hours, but they are there for some few hours. So that real estate impact is there. And moreover, customer, now other industry impact, right? Other industry impact is from entertainment industry or some other industry where consumer is utilizing those Netflix or Amazon Primes and so many other channels, right? Or doing a lot of payments on Phone Pay or Google Pay, etc. They are not visiting shopping malls. They are not visiting nearby shopping kirana stores. So impact is everywhere. The one industry is impacted, it is affecting other industry in a positive or a negative way. So primarily transactions are down in the banking since last few months. So that gives a challenge or opportunity. What are the different opportunities wherein we can bring money or wherein do justice to the CASA? Right, this is what a bank's aspiration, how the float has to be kept in a bank, right? How a better way of doing lending, how a better way of doing KYC, right? So coming back, the customer who was visiting branches or our field officers who were visiting customers at their home to collect KYC documents, I think this is not happening now. So what is happening now? Lower rate of account opening or less of transactions. So looking at this aspiration, banks will look at how they can do banking on digital channels, not only on mobile, but how can they really collaborate with the other ecosystem players, how they can collaborate with some company, Make My Trip or any other Flipkarts, wherein they can provide small loans through those applications, how they can collaborate with some video KYC kind of a partners, so that they will align the video KYC kind of engine in their channels, in their website, in the mobile app, or wherever it is possible, so that customer can avail for video KYC and get onboarded as a customer to the bank. So I think that's a way to look at banks. And moreover, post COVID or during COVID also, as it's a hit to every organization, banking industry will look at how they can do the efficient operations, right? How they can really remove those unnecessary operational tasks with a man in middle, so that man has to visit some branch, or man has to visit some office and do kind of a settlement, reconciliation, these kind of activities. So inclination of every bank or every banking organization will look at how they can optimize this task for a longer period as a strategy, how they can do adoption of AI, or how they can do adoption of robotic process automation or intelligent automation, so that they automate these tasks and we can utilize same staff or a same employee for some other creative work, right? So that's the way to look at it. So I think I would say banks are, in a nutshell, are looking for a 4 or 5 pillars, how they can reskill their employees, right? The existing employees, how they can be reutilized, reskill, how they can reform their technology systems. Until now they were not using video KYC, until now they were not using, say example, RPA or some kind of automation mechanism. So how they can adopt the right technology for a right process enhancements. So reformation is something which will every bank will look at it. How they will re-engineer their system. Say example, today my banking is only on branch or on mobile, or maximum on internet banking and some of those other banking channels, right? So how many of us are visiting branches, or how many of us will keep on visiting ATMs here onwards, right? So these are the tasks, right, in front of a bank. So now banks will look at how they can innovate everywhere, how they can bring on contactless payments or contactless ATMs, wherein you don't have to touch there, right? Or wherever I'm there, so my banking has to be there with me 24/7. Not only on my app, but my banking has to be there on non-banking apps also, right? So how do I do that? So I have to re-engineer my banking. I have to re-engineer my banking form of APIs. How can I provide my services through a service, so that that service can be inculcated into other apps? Like phone pay is one example which is riding on some of the banking APIs, or Google Pay is example of riding on some kind of payments API. But banking is not only payments. Banking is on for customer account opening. Can I not open accounts through collaboration, through other apps where a lot of people are already there? Or can I not can I not engage customers through other apps? So I think that's the way to look at how APIs can be helpful for a re-engineering of the operation. So I think I was talking about reskilling, or I was talking about reformation of complete processes, or adoption of technologies, and re-engineering. Then everything will happen provided banking staff, every banking staff. It is not only responsibility of MD, CEO of a bank, but it's a responsibility of somebody who is visiting or working in a branch, who is working into day-to-day operations, how they are rethinking for their bank. Once any organization is always an outcome of how people are, how innovative or how collaborative the people of that organization. So how everybody, including MD or CIOs or CISOs, they have to rethink their current strategies. So rethinking around this, how do you reform and how do you rescale and how to re-engineer, it's a very important. So I think, so ultimately it's like it will not be a digital retransformation, but it will be a digital reformation kind of a story for every bank to look at it. So in a nutshell, you have to take care of your people, which processes, which technology, and there are a lot of government schemes are coming in, right? A lot of government schemes are coming up. Recently, Pradhan ji has announced Atmanirbhar campaign, right? How do we really help SMEs? How can we help those 4-5 crore plus SMEs to get a banking, right? So it's not only bank, but there are a lot of funds are being announced by Sitaraman also. So where we have to leverage on these schemes. So banks will look at how they will participate of this GEM, how they will be participating account aggregator mechanism. So account aggregator is mechanism is something which is coming up with the RBI recommended account aggregators. So wherein a Revit is taking charge of this complete implementation, where your data, right, where the data and API consumption from banks or any of those entities who are residing on the huge data, so that not so to begin with, they are starting with SME and MSME kind of a use cases for a lending, how we can allow or provide better lending for SMEs, MSMEs. So for those use cases, the complete standardization of APIs for every bank. So today every bank is having their own way of exposing APIs, and there is their unique way of fintechs are accessing their APIs through account aggregator. In India, we will bring some kind of a standardization. Sooner or the later, the way we have seen this boost or a landscape changing exercise by NPCI through UPI, right? UPIs brought lot of innovations, right? Recent innovations, which is they have brought in like how month on one basis the payment can be deducted, just like an EMI. On even they are collaborating with kind of state governments like Andhra Pradesh government. In Andhra Pradesh, NPCI is collaborating for 15,000 plus villages, wherein digital based payments will happen through UPI QR code. Now just imagine when NPCI kind of organization is really looking at revamping complete India through UPI. Similarly, this account aggregator mechanism will help NBFCs or SMEs to onboard them for better and better lending and lending. So another sector which is like alternate lending, right? The banks are providing lending fine, but bank has a tedious process to provide lending. So somebody has to onboard documents. They have to go to the that or visit to a particular SME, see their mortgages. Okay, everything is fine. Come back with those papers. It's a quite lengthy process, right? Look at how can we really automate this process. And if not bank, there are some startups, fintechs who has automated this process. They are running those businesses so efficiently. So as a country, right, where lot of things were happening in a payment, so which is being standardized as a UPI, similar way we have to standardize this lending also. So what I will say, next wave in India will be around lending. How can we lend easily to the end user, to my SMEs, right? So many SMEs are there, but these SMEs not so tech savvy. They don't want to get onto these digital kind of a channels. Although there are some push from Amazon, there are some push from Jio, wherein they are creating a pool of SMEs across India. But I think from government and also there has to be some inclination or some kind of a body who takes care of SMEs or lending, how easy lending can be provided based upon alternate lending or alternate score which are available, right? So I think in a nutshell, banking will be like in 2030, banking will be there, but banks will not be required. There are some concepts like DeFi, decentralized financing. This decentralized financing is a concept or a kind of a phenomena or kind of a framework which some of the 200, 300 startups across the world, they are governing. How are they doing? They are doing it without regulator. They are doing it without any banking norms and banking rules, policies. But still they are at a market cap of somewhere around 6 billion in a matter of last 8 to 9 months. That's how we have to look at how banks can really improve on DeFi kind of a mechanism, where in DeFi you don't have any operations, we don't have any settlements, we don't have any call centers. Still customer is happy, still customer is getting interest, still customer is getting lending opportunities. Can we not create a banking without less of operational efforts, with less of disputes? So that is all possible if you really bring on more and more adoption with a tech savvy, better user experience based fintech companies. So I think this collaboration of banks plus fintechs, along with a boost from some government and some body governing all this mechanism of a national lending program, so that will really help a lot to the SMEs. Then all this adoption of blockchain, AI or IoT or big data, these are just a change agents which will come and accelerate this whole journey. But I think it's a combination of people where government is already pushing, or combination of how banks will collaborate with the tech companies or fintech, and ultimately look at how SME has to be really reformed. So while we are thinking as an organization, how do we reform or how do we sustain in the country like India, it's an opportunity during COVID or post-COVID to really bring on something better initiative for India. So I think banking is really moving in a better shape here onwards. Some of the banks are looking at how they have another subsidiary only for lending, or another area or unit only for SMEs. Say example, in my bank, DCB Bank, we are looking at a program called as Innovation Carnival. Under that program, we are looking forward to collaborate with more and more lending startups. That's the need of a banking today. And more these lending startups, fintech will help us to bring more business so that my SMEs, right, SME customers are benefited out of this whole equation. So that's a one campaign which we are doing. And if through this talk, if somebody is interested to some of our NASSCOM based startups or some of the fintech companies would like to really work with us, happy to collaborate with them and look forward how we can really work with them. So a final thing which I want to touch upon is that India's innovation index, right? So India's innovation index is an outcome of many parameters. How your education system is there, how your healthcare system, infrastructure, how your information technology companies are working on, and one more most important task here out is how your SMEs are getting financial support, how your SMEs are doing banking, right? Are they well equipped with all the financial services, financial engagement services? Are they able to open their account? Are they able to get lending quickly? So based upon that, your innovation index of a country is categorized or calibrated. So India today is at number 51 in all those so many countries in the world. So our journey from 85 to 51 is an output of last 5 years. But look at the China and some other countries are moved from 45 to 16. And sooner or later they will be in top 10. I think it's not a competition, but I would like to say so that at a country level we have to collaborate more. We need to see where our efforts are moving. We don't have to put efforts around on a operations kind of a thing. We don't have to put efforts around those things like our SME is not getting immediate services, right? I think there is a lot room wherein we can create digital only banks or digital friendly banks or a neighborhood banks, so that your SME who has that small kirana shop or SMEs who are looking for day-to-day daily wages. So during COVID or post-COVID also, if we have a robust architecture, robust framework in India, I am sure we will be one of those top country wherein we will be looked as a template for whole world that this is how we should drive. And it is all possible with all this relevant collaboration with the banks, governments, policymakers, and the academy also. So I think Hanuman sir, we will really discuss further more. So these were my initial thoughts around how banking will move here onwards. Banking today is for customers, but one way to look at in future, banking will be not only will be for humans as a customer, it will be for your cars, it will be for your smart homes, it will be for your devices. So that's a beautiful banking is gonna come, and if you will not work it today, I think this whole progress will be delayed. So over to you, sir. Happy to discuss further more with our other mentors.
Fantastic, Prasanna ji. Fantastic. Awesome. This has been a not only very visionary presentation, but knowing you personally for so many years, and a lot of many in audience and all the speakers knowing you, they know that you mean it, and you have implemented a lot of it already in your organization. Plus, you are helping next to up to the next level. Amazing talk. Amazing. Thank you very much. In fact, since we started a little late and I spoke a little longer, I'm not able to summarize your conversation. It has been very beautiful. Thanks a ton, Prasanna ji. And now over to Mr. Sundar Krishnan for having his vision and insights on the insurance industry. And I would request Sundar, if you can please cover not only just life, but also non-life and health insurance and all the sectors which are very critical today. And you are a thought leader in all aspects of insurance industry. So we thought we'll take your guidance. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me over here. I've been invited again and again by NASSCOM and CIO, a lot of friends in the CIO Connect world. Yes. Thank you so much. I'm certainly not the CEO of Reliance Nippon Life Insurance. There's a person called Srinivasan Iyengar who will be furious to know that. He's also highly tech-driven and innovative person. and a prominent speaker in various forums. So I take care of the risk management side, but having said that, I'm also involved in several industry initiatives. I was involved in the paperless insurance initiative for the industry about 6 to 7 years back, and what we laid seeds that add fruits, and then about that was 8 years back. In fact, about 3, 4 years back, we had DMAT insurance today with the help of CAMS, Carvies of the world, and you can now open an insurance account with CAMS or Carvi and have a paperless insurance. So the trends in insurance sector is very safe, similar to banking. Uh, the only advantage that private insurance sector has is that it's recent phenomena. It's say 2001 onwards, so 2 decades of experience, and therefore the people who've joined us are more recent phenomena and more tech driven. Therefore, the change is not difficult in insurance sector. Uh, Most insurance companies, general or life, launched digital and business transformation about 6, 7 years back, and we are already seeing the fruits of that. I was quite surprised that Prasanna didn't touch upon COVID, but COVID has created a big impact.
Yeah,
The way we work, the way we live, the way we think, and because I believe it's not going to be a month's phenomena, which is why we have to think of future also. And once we have got the fruits of working from home, I don't think people are going to discontinue that. The corporate world is going to discontinue that simply because it's so cost effective. And in fact, I end up working more now. If I used to work 12 hours, now I'm working 14 hours. So the travel time is saved. Also, the time you spent in canteen with tea and all that is gone. And so it's much more busier time at home. So what digital transformation took place about 4 or 5 years back has come in handy in COVID era, and I can see more and more conversion from manual transaction world to digital world. It's all digital. The focus is on having more and more digital conversion. Uh, and so what is manual process is also being digitized, and there is economies of scale as a result of that. And what I liked about Prasanna's topic is our people process. Yes, people connect is very important. Digitization doesn't mean you don't deal with people. No, it's for more people involvement. HR today are struggling how to keep the people happier at home. What are the
yeah,
programs they can do? Social programs you can do using the social media and the technology to better adjust to the circumstances, keep people happy because happiness is important. The emotional intelligence is important, and so it's all about fintech, insure tech in the insurance world now. You will be surprised if you look at the top digital insurance companies in the world. The first is China, Zhong'an, and second is India, Acco General. You spoke about general insurance, so that's a shining example. Acco General has got 40 million customers and 8% of the car insurance market. And so it is very important. We are up there in the top 10 now. And of course, the third is the US company called Oscar Health, which is an health insurance company. So already in the health insurance world, people are talking about having a small 1-inch IoT, which will be with you. Will carry it when you run, eat, lives, and will take continuous ECG on cloud. And it's quite innovative. And so the heart condition weakens, they can hopefully rush the paramedical people to you and give the insurance cover also. This is the thought process of the world today. Many Indian companies have come up with this idea of IoT in health insurance and cloud-based technologies. I know my own friend who's settled in Australia using a US company to develop IoT and for health insurance and trying to tap Indian market. So again, startup and SME. So this is the name of the game: digitalization of processes, people, and technology, and digital insurance, digital cover, digital lending. Incidentally, the top in the private sector, top 5, 6 insurance companies are all banca insurance companies. You have the SBI, the ICICI, the HDFC, Axis Max. So people who are actually doing well are all banca, who has a bank platform, and mostly it is all digital, and especially in the COVID times. The April and the May month were bad, but June, July, I think the industry has bounced back in the insurance sector world. August is similar. We can see we are able to beat up last year's numbers day on day. And like a typical T20 or a one-day match, we will hit more sixers in the Jan, February, March month, so that this year is better than last year. So this is the optimism in the industry. It's more tech-driven. If you look at the insurance technology companies again in India, Acco General, Activators, Mantra Labs, Pentagon Analytics, Policy Bazaar, Toffee Insurance, so many such companies which have come up. All have been started small and then grown big. And I can see my IT vendors also, the trend is on all focusing on smaller companies to serve your needs, simply because there are a lot of cost pressures on the insurance companies. There are expense norms that you can, how much money you can spend. And given that, the increasing trend will be to grow, tap SME, tap fintechs, tap smaller companies so that you can innovate, you can be on the latest technology, and you can be cost effective. The cost fulfillment need is better served by SMEs than the big guys. They can't climb down because of their cost structures and organization structure. Although they might achieve cost excellence, but it's tough for them to compete with the fintechs of the world. This is the trend I am seeing in the next 5 years or so, thanks to COVID, thanks to digitalization, thanks to business transformation, thanks to digital transformation. So even though we may engage a Cognizant of the world, but we may still, the Cognizant will use Cognizant to tie up with small companies to develop the apps. That's the trend. You have so many insurance companies are competing with each other to come up with, I have got 60 bots, no, I have got 64 bots. Chatbots. So that's the competition. Same is on AI, machine learning, and use of robotics. So this is what I look at. Most analytics is being widely used last 10 years. In fact, analytics has given excellent results, and many companies are there with small insurance technology companies which support and consult on analytics. And although the platform might be big, we can still customize to smaller requirements. And innovation transformation is better achieved through small apps. And then you climb up the ladder and then you integrate. Integration is not a challenge these days. It's much easier than what it was about 2 years back. We had legacies, but so no more is that challenge. People are slowly moving into more dynamic world of apps. So this is what is happening in the insurance sector. There is also one more topic that I think Prasanna didn't touch, is that regulatory sandbox. That is another, we have round 2 regulatory sandbox. Round 1 was over. It was not so much of a success, unfortunately. Maybe now government is pushing more and more, regulators also being pushed to come up with regulatory sandbox. And I like what Prasanna talked about, that you have a regulation-free banks kind of environment where many people join and then work. Maybe it will pervade in insurance slowly. And blockchain is an initiative which industry is already working on. I think blockchain platform will give a lot of trust among the players, because blockchain's greatest outcome is trust factor. And if it clicks, unfortunately it hasn't, but if it clicks, it will be great. And government is pushing it, obviously. And this is the only, I think we have a MSME minister also, apart from Atmanirbhar Bharat and Jandan and other insurance Prime Minister's Bima Yojana, which is also provided. But use of digitization to do that will be better, I feel, since it gives you a reach. There is also micro insurance and micro technologies that are coming in, which pervades the rural, semi-urban, tiers. The people out there are fast changing. Netflix and what Prasanna spoke about has pervaded the villages. People who out there might go to a small shanty house, but they will be having Netflix there and watching all the latest stuff. So people are smarter in tier 4, tier 3 cities, towns, and aspirations are more. They are not like the good old people contented with what they live. They want to change the world. They want to change things. I can see that when the migration happened from cities back to the towns and back to the villages and back to other places, other states, aspirations of those places have gone up because people have tasted city life and they want to change lives there. This is the best time to come and help them to set up things, improve infrastructure, and use of cloud platform is going to be very high. More and more cloud is being used, more and more cost efficiency would set in. Cost leadership and cost efficiency and cost reduction, not cost cutting and cost control, comes only through economies of scale, use of digitization, use of better processes, quality technology, and latest technology, and balancing people. Very important, balancing people and technology, because unless you get the people equation right, you will not get things right. And so these are the things that are going to come in next 5 years or usher in. Everybody will try and achieve cost leadership. Cost leadership would mean the offering of a service or a product at a cheaper rate than the competitor, or making of a product at a cheaper cost than the competitor. And this is going to kill the market, the digital disruption will happen because of that. And already I'm seeing that. And so you will you'll have to compete in excellence, you'll have to compete on scale, you'll have to compete on technology, and you will have to compete adoption of digitization. This is the key trend that I can see in the next 5 years. And therefore, when I say all this in the next 5 years, it will happen. Roll up SME sector, the 4 to 5 crores SMEs in India are going to be of immense help. And increasingly, I can see technology pervading the SME sector, and more SME tech, SME insurance tech, or insurance tech companies will come about, fintechs, and they're not only in the field of issuance of policies or making of underwriting, they're also in the field of supporting regulations, supporting compliance, supporting operations, supporting various other infrastructural functions which are there. The other important trend that I will also thought I will share is the video PIVC. We have something called verification calling. Increasingly, customers are adopted in through digitization, through use of PI post-issuance video call verification. So you take a video of the customer, speak to him and see. The underwriter can directly see the customer and see his healthy or in a video or over a video, so that the policy gets issued in 3 minutes or 4 minutes, like a 2-minute Maggie noodle, rather than wait for 30 days and 20 days. Policies are now already being issued in WhatsApp and Bitleys and email. And soon we are fighting with the regulator to make it optional that we don't issue paper policies, so that we become totally paperless. But that day is not far. Already they have allowed that for pure insurance, which is pure risk product, which is only risk cover, not having any savings element. So that they've come up with already. So that can be totally real-time digital and no paper required. Straight away you can issue policies in WhatsApp, or you can open an account with CAMS Carvi, and it's an e-repository account, it's a demat account. And there is already talk of linking demat of insurance policies with bank, with mutual fund, and having a common statement across mutual fund, bank, and insurance. But that is also not far away. The groundwork is already started. There is a committee which is there, which is already working on this, and I'm sure they'll achieve. Then I'll come to Aadhaar. Aadhaar has changed the world, especially for insurance sector. 3-4 years back, we were about 80% relying on Aadhaar. We had given Aadhaar tokens to all our sales managers, and just putting the thumb and connecting to the address ID, and policies were issued in 3 minutes. Then came the Supreme Court judgment saying that you can't, because at that time Aadhaar was mandatory, Then now it is Aadhaar is optional. Now again they revived that. Banks have been allowed to use Aadhaar and digital tokens. Insurance companies are also now being allowed to use digital tokens and Aadhaar. And so the projects are on right now. Again, we have to. This is part two, dot two, or part two project where Aadhaars are being used as ushering in digitized manner the customer, and so you can easily connect the customer and issue a policy seamlessly. It's going to become a big one, and it's again a world-class technology in words of Nandan Nilekani, and it is, believe me, what India has achieved through Aadhaar is unbelievable. It has given us a giant leap. So I think government is pushing for it. The only problem was the legal part was not taken care of, but it will sit in lots of other green sprouts, as you can see, other green shoots that will come about around that ecosystem, and that will change things again. So AI, machine learning, digitization, digital transformation, economies of scale, balancing people, working from home, technology around this is going to change life, even in insurance world or just as the banking world, and things are going to change drastically. There is going to be digital disruption. SME has a big role to play, and we should catch up and grab this opportunity in a big manner. I think I'll end there and wait for questions and hand over it to next speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to NASSCOM and CIO Connect.
Thank you, Sundar. Thank you very much. Is my voice echoing?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So thank you. It has been an audience that
Hanuman sir, sorry, your voice is echoing.
uh,
I think we all need to mute.
I have only one.
No, actually, I'm able to hear, so I'm a bit surprised.
Just give me one. Prasanna, you can hear?
It's coming disturbing. It's not clear.
Okay.
Am I audible properly?
Yeah, you are audible. I'm sorry, but
Yes,
why my voice is not?
go ahead, sir. You are audible now.
Okay. So I just want to say one thing that that the way how Mr. Prasanna Lohar presented on banks and how Mr. Sundar Krishnan presented on the insurance industry, the audience will realize there is an absolute clear differentiation of strategies, thought processes, and everything. This is what is the uniqueness of this this conversation, that you are hearing from experts in their own related fields. And while they are all financial services experts, but the fact is that they are handling different kind of audience, and they are handling different kind of customers and different kind of challenges, and therefore you see the digital applicability is also completely different, and the plan and the future is also differently planned. So it's very unique conversation. And I also remember Mr. Sundar Krishnan's contribution to NASSCOM has been very serious for last 2 decades or more. I distinctly remember when we started Police Cyber Security Week as a activity about 20 years back. You were the leader as a part of CISO Klub and CIO Klub, who did several presentations for NASSCOM with Bombay Police for the purpose of having to implement industry and police collaboration for betterment of policing and so on and so forth. So, and of course, you have been speaking in so many forums of NASSCOM and have been handholding various companies. And in fact, you have adopted very many small companies in Reliance for the purpose of having to implement very critical, mission critical applications. So that's your yeoman contribution to the industry, and we deeply appreciate that. So thank you, Sundar, for your very valuable talk. And
thank you so much. I think very important.
Thank you. And now over to Mehjabeen. Now you will hear a very unique perspective on NBFCs, very different from banks and insurance, and a cut between the two. So you will over to Mehjabeen for your insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'll just share my screen for a presentation. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So, hello everyone. A very apt brief on this has already been shared by Hanuman sir and Prasanna and Sundar sir, and they have set the agenda quite right with their views for today's meet. I'm sure that all of you already study the markets and the industry landscape at a very in-depth level that kind of helps you align your product innovation and strategies to the business sector needs. However, we as industry representatives today would like to share with you the challenges or let's just say some aberrations that certain unmet and certain unevolved requirements and tech solutions lead to. So thank you for taking the time out to come and listen to us and while we share our experiences with you. So like Hanuman said, I'll touch upon the NBFC sector, and as I do that, I'll take a minute highlighting how NBFCs are different and why a BFSI vanilla solution doesn't always kind of work for us. So if you see, and like most of you would already know, that NBFCs business models are based on very non-traditional methods of lending. And they have a lot of scope and pliancy when it comes to product designs and product offerings. Now, NBFCs, by their very nature, they work with high operational risks, scenarios where our banking counterparts would, generally tighten their purse strings. In the last few years, given the growing bad loans and NPAs, the authorities have also been tightening the regulatory noose around, banks' necks, and this leaves a very huge underserved market at NBFC's disposal. So, technology that can help identify and acquire these potential market segments for us and tap them at a lower operating cost, those are the ones that can help us de-risk our portfolio without actually impacting the quantum of business that we do. And technology solutions who can help us do that, they would be the game changers for the BFSI sector. Now, having said that, let's take a look at some specific areas which, in my opinion, you all can add a lot of value to with your technical innovation. So if you look here, we, as an NBFC sector today, given the nature and size of the potential customer pool that I just highlighted, we need to come up with quick and customized loan offerings dynamically. Now, what if you can provide me with a credit scoring tool that can help me design a customized, unsecured, short-term, small-ticket, credit offering basis the customer's profile on the fly. Consider this: Indians are the second largest mobile phone users in the world, and imagine the amount of digital footprints that are being left behind every minute with such a huge mobile population. Every time these individuals use their phone to call, message, browse internet, use social media, recharge, they leave a trail behind. And intelligent systems that you can design that they can use this data for consumer risk assessment, credit scoring or profiling, those can really help us out. So apart from making use of the public information that is provided by the borrower, we can use whatever customer data is available in the public domain. And then we can cross-verify this using the social media profiling of the borrower. Today, as we speak, things have come to the level that now, besides LinkedIn and Facebook posts, even Swiggy's order history is being taken into account for evaluating the creditworthiness of customers. Stuff like your psychometric assessment and social profiling of customers are also helping to add great value in this space. The value proposition here, though, will always remain that These credit assessments should help us, the NBFCs, lower the operational cost, which a traditional underwriting still has high because it is largely manual. So with such tailor-made loans, which can be backed by strong risk assessment engines that you can design, we can lend to a bigger market at a lower cost, and we can reduce risk. So this becomes a sort of a win-win for both us as lenders and for our customers who are the borrowers. Another very pertinent section, or we can say that another very pertinent area where technology can add value is customer service. Today, if you see that there are so many players in the market, that customer loyalties have become very, very fragile, and customer retention, you would also know, since I mean, you also kind of manage your customers, it has evolved into a science of its own. Hyper personalization is becoming the way of establishing connect with your customers. While there's a lot of artificial intelligence based analytics that is being used by organizations to profile and target customers, this will need further refining and pruning, because you need to better trace and track a customer's journey and design very, very highly customized offerings for them. Every individual is unique, is what we find in our customer engagements and customer interaction. And there is always some point of data that can be used to kind of tailor-made offerings for these customers. The chatbots, the robo-advisors that we have today, they have at best, you can say, graduated to the level of engaging customers into small talks. But replacing a human assistant is still, I mean, I believe it's a far cry. Grievance redressal, we see it almost always requires human intervention. So if I have to reduce my call center cost, if I have to, take customer communication to a level where it moves from the rear view mirror perspective, these technologies really have to evolve, and they really have to come to a level where I can replace a human, with these technologies. And as we discuss this, I would like to highlight that vernacular, it continues to be a big gap even today in both text-based as well as your voice-based solutions. I mean, India being India, there's a lot of cultural and linguistic diversity. And if you have to really target the Indian customer base, these solutions need to be well suited for regional, rural, and the semi-urban population. Voice recognition is finally making an entry into Indian fintech. The top 200 million users are the only ones who type in English. And voice research and recognition are a natural progression to this. So the market for your voice-based authentication for financial transactions is gradually maturing. And while certain components of customer service and engagements, they have been built using your voice-based transactions over devices like Alexa, Google Assist. Even we have product offerings where we service our customers through the Alexa devices, the Google Assist devices. But supporting a full-fledged banking model over voice that can serve as a biometric identity, that is yet to evolve and gain market. So that's also one of the technological frontier where we expect our technology partners to help us out. Other than this, there is one very key area, which is knowing your customer. And we have now the next generation concepts coming into picture here, which is your voice-based KYC and your face authenticated KYC. And Sundar sir touched upon how the business hugely dependent on Aadhaar-based KYC and how with code tooling it suddenly changed the ecosystem. Then we got the video KYC, which is recently gaining grounds, and tomorrow we can even have the voice-based KYC and the face authenticated KYC. While regulations will definitely kind of play a pivotal role in designing these solutions, but it goes without saying that if the AI vernacular capabilities are refined, then definitely the regulations can also play in favor of these additional KYC options. And having these additional KYC options can really help us bridge the gap between a digital savvy and a digital non-savvy population. And one last very key component that I would like to highlight is I would like to share that basis by numerous interactions with users, both internal and external, the UI and UX capabilities of products are going to drive their adoption in future. There are so many apps available in the market. People's mobile engagement is at a completely different level, and every day these apps are upgrading themselves, they're evolving themselves. The aesthetic senses are at a different level, and customers having used apps like an Uber or a Zomato or a Facebook, they are used to a very supreme digital experience, and they expect at least something similar from their financial apps too. So in these times of instant gratification, where your customer patience and their scope of attention is very, very limited, there's no wonder that a small glitch on your website can just dip the bounce, not dip, increase the bounce rate on your website. And it will not be an exaggeration to say that your next gen customer will choose a banking app and not a bank. So like Prasanna also mentioned, that banking will be required, not banks. I mean, these are the kind of things that can really drive a customer's need, and can drive a customer's choice in the future. And one last thing that I would like to add is that while the market has got many IT solutions available, India is still working towards having a genuinely world-class digital product of its own. We have long been regarded as the IT back office of the world, and as you all are aware, the services industry is now maturing, and India needs to transition to building world-class software products which are built on homegrown tech platforms, which utilizes our indigenous digital talent. And you guys can actually help stitch that dream together. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you got some relevant insights to work upon. Hanuman sir, over to you.
Thank you, Mehjabeen. Thank you very much. And not just the insight, very valuable insights. And you have very clearly explained how is that mid path between banks and insurance which NBFCs are taking up. And in the process, probably will take away a lot of the business of each. So that's a kind of leadership which the NBFCs are building. And what actually Prasanna, Mr. Prasanna Lohar, as well as Mr. Sundar Krishnan, my old friends, have really covered is what is coming to NBFCs as a very big opportunity, which you have covered extremely well, which is serving the small customers, the SMEs, and going on the lending path in a big manner, and so on and so forth, and using digital to the strength of it. So Mehjabeen, thank you very, very much. It has been an excellent presentation from your side, and also the discussion. And I'm seeing that on the chat, the questions which were asked were already answered by the speakers. So I have some 3 questions. We have few minutes left for the panel to close. So I would like to ask Prasanna first on the banks, that how is it going the trade finance way? Is it that, an end-to-end integration which would have been possible through an early adoption of blockchain, and because of foreign currency payments and all of that, how is that happening as a trend, and not really in your bank? I'm asking you, how is it actually happening at the regulatory level and at the industry level? Just a very short cover to explain.
I think blockchain is a very, very vast topic to cover in a short time. But coming back to trade finance use case, I think World Economic Forum has highlighted some of the global use case wherein blockchain can be really implemented, so that it's a good for global economy, right? It's a good for Indian economy, or wherever these touch points are there. Say one of the use case is a cross-border payment, or another use case is for having a digital identity in every country, right? Or and this trade finance is another use case which is being highlighted by World Economic Forum, by saying that if every country implements blockchain-based trade finance, I think we will save billions of money, right? There is a lot of overheads, like any transaction at trade finance. It takes a lot of time to implement. Apart from time, there is a lot of paperwork. If the paperwork is there, we will find some errors through human in between. Moreover, corruption part is quite much involved in that trade finance kind of ecosystem. What blockchain is all about? Blockchain brings all those like-minded stakeholders together, say bank or another foreign bank, and trade entities in between. And just imagine all these entities are able to see what is happening for the transaction, what is happening for that consignment, which is being moved from one part of the world to another part. And we will be able to track where that consignment has reached, at what time. So everything be tracked. So just imagine, while this operation comes on blockchain, where all the stakeholders are on the same chain, What does it mean? It means you are bringing a transparency to every stakeholder. You are bringing a agility and a move the consignment faster way, and removal of that man in middle part. So during this phase, you will save a lot of billions of money for multiple economies. Now, current status, like how banks are really looking at. So banks, we had started one consortium so-called Bank Chain way back in 2017, where trade finance were one of the use case. We done some POCs and pilots. But see, blockchain is a new technology. Like, it's not like a technology in internet which has come in 95, and now currently none of the business model is there without internet, right? Everything's on internet. But blockchain, I'll treat it as a internet 2.0, has come into our life in hardly 3-4 years before, although Bitcoin was there earlier. But blockchain has come now. Now, if you ask, trade finance kind of an ecosystem to be built where multiple stakeholders are involved, to bring it on a blockchain kind of technology, it will take some time, right? It will take, like UPI itself took 3 years to implement, starting from a first specification to be written on existing technology, because it's a game of all banking people coming together, writing the specification, agree on those terms and conditions, who will get what, right? So similarly, on a trade finance side, what is necessary? Banks to come in together, create a kind of an approach paper specification, what is there for every bank, what are those incentives for every bank, and all the stakeholders inside in that chain. So as a technology will not be a challenge for us, right? As a blockchain will not. What is challenge? To bringing people, and there are multiple integrations in this whole supply chain, kind of a trade finance. I think in India, after bank chain, we have seen rise of BIC, which is a blockchain infrastructure company, which is an initiative by some of the banks who are on Finacle, like ICICI Bank or Federal Bank, or so we are also intending a part of that chain. So wherein they are crafting, just like NPCI takes care of payment, just like NPCI takes care of payment, BIC will take care of blockchain based to begin with trade finance as one use case. So that adoption will be smoother, or a very nice way. So in globally, there are more than 10 to 12 consortiums which are already working on trade finance. Something from R3 is a company, or IBM, or in Singapore, Mass is driving those initiatives. But in a nutshell, when Pantapradan also said during the Atmanirbhar, bring on some efficient systems, bring on some automated supply chains, right? There comes the like inclination, how can we build everything on a smart ecosystem or a blockchain based ecosystem. So I think Hanuman sir, banks are learning, right? Most of the banks are learning. Some of the banks are at front runners. They will take all the other banking ecosystem together on a trade finance on a blockchain. That's the way to look at it. I think one aspect which Sundar sir was talking about, a regulator side, right? Regulator or a sandboxing side. So I think account aggregator will coming into picture, wherein they will bring on right set of a standardization of APIs, right? So that bank A, which was opening up APIs some other fashion compared to bank B, all these banks will coming onto the account aggregator will have standardized mechanism which will be governed by Revit. So that will give more inclination towards how more and more fintechs will align with the multiple banks. I think there also blockchain should come play a major role, because data security, data privacy, and how data is moved from multiple stakeholders in that whole chain. So I think not only trade finance, sir, I think we have to look at futuristic view wherever multiple stakeholders are involved, and wherever data secrecy or data privacy involved, like Aadhaar or GEM or and there are many bill payment systems where multiple stakeholders and open banking is involved. There you need to see how trust can be inherently built. So one of the use case which I am practicing with income tax department, like form 15GS and form 20CS, how this banking operation with the multiple stakeholders can be built on a blockchain. So that pilot is completed. I think these kind of experiments of completion of pilots will give more motivation for more bankers to come together on this kind of a chain, and we'll see kind of a very good adoption on a trade finance kind of a much needed use cases.
Okay, thank you, Prasanna ji. Very, very well said. And this is a very holistic picture on trade finance. In fact, we should take up this as a separate subject one day, because it's a very relevant subject for boost international trade safely and to ensure that there are no NPAs in future. So we'll probably use your vision there, and also your current experimentations which you are doing in the industry. We'll use your expertise there someday. Thank you very much, Prasanna ji. To Sundar, Krishnan, we have
Yes.
one thinking with regards to the disintermediation of the insurance business. If you realize, sir, the largest opportunity today in financial services is actually meant for insurance industry, because larger population of the country, like it was not banked many years back, it is not insured presently. Or even if those prime minister program which was implemented many years back to give basic insurance, there are various other opportunities like health insurance. And now, of course, the PM has announced the new program of consolidating all the health systems or health, hospital records and so on and so forth at the national level, which is a very major initiative for the country. It will probably lead us to become one of the most technologically advanced countries in that space in coming times. But given that opportunity set, how is the disintermediation being removed from insurance industry, and if at all, is there a need to remove disintermediation, and how will that happen?
So,
Especially when you say claim settlement and all of that which happens in the health industry, how will this go away? Because I think the major loss of intermediation is to the insurance industry. You're paying far more claims than what would have been otherwise required. So over to you. Thank you.
yeah, so yes, actually, intermediation increases the cost for the manufacturer like us.
Yes.
So, at the same time, it gives us the reach. The intermediaries manage to reach the common man. Like if you look at the LIC agents, they are there for several years and quite a good career. A lot of agents have done. They're very simple, down to earth, and so they're able to friend circle, family, social friends, and out of their zone also, comfort zone in many cases. What has happened through digital transformation or digitization or the policy bazaars of the world is that people have started accessing net, and what was push business has become a pull business now. As we speak, there is an increasing rush for COVID cover, COVID insurance cover. People want to take life cover and general insurance cover or health cover for COVID. There are so many interests, and people actually surf the net and then buy policies online. Examples I gave earlier of Echo General. I mean, this is a typical company which is end-to-end digital, so there's no intermediation there. So I think you can't say disintermediation will happen permanent, the intermediaries will go. We're already seeing intermediaries coming down. But there are some companies which operate on the traditional model, intermediation model, because you need to create awareness, you need to penetrate. Penetration is still poor in the country. We are not good in penetration. It's about the laggards there. They say technically 3%, 3.5, it's even lesser than that. Is the insurance penetration. So given our population, and so it has definitely has to reach the levels of 8%, 7%, and there is tremendous scope there. So to answer your question, disintermediation has happened, yes. There is also something called a direct sales force. Apart from digitization and real time and selling online, we also have something called direct selling force. There was a interesting question on the chat side. There are lots of women and housewives now who are educated and who are having some time, 4 hours time in a year. So we have this concept of part-time employees. A women-only channel is there actually, which is called face-to-face channel. There are about 3,000 women doing really well. The quality of business that they bring in is excellent. What we measure is a persistency rate at which the renewal premium comes. Any respectable company should have a persistency more than 75%. This woman-only channel produces about 80%, 80-85% persistency. So, and we don't pay much. It's a very ordinary salary because it's part time. They come in the morning, understanding the market, and come back in the evening and report. And then they do field work and maybe cooking also. taking care of the kid sometime, and then doing some work in the evening, night, and then again coming back and reporting in the evening. So, and also now with this work from home, people are talking and selling over the phone, selling over the net. Women, there are again lots of professionals who are now working from home and training new agents, selling customers, contacting customers over the phone, or dialing them up. So there is an increasing amount of people, and in fact, insurance companies are on the lookout for such people now, who can be made agents. So it's a very contrasting story. On the one hand, we need more and more intermediaries. So intermediaries is a gold rush for intermediaries, but on the other hand, there are intermediation also happening. This intermediation, of course, brings down the cost to the industry. But having said that, insurance is not something which you can easily sell. Not all products could be sold over online. Not all products could be explained over online, although it brings in better trust. We spoke about blockchain. Blockchain again brings in better trust. So blockchain, if you have for agents, then they know what they will earn exactly. Today there is a lot of confusion on what they earn because there is so much of complex reward structure, incentive structure, and there are so many contests. You like contests? So many contests are announced. There is a rain contest. There is a winter contest, summer contest, carnival contest. I mean, you name there will be so many names. T20 contest. So you the systems to design systems to for this is very tricky, and the blockchain is a very important tool because it develops trust. And again, blockchain is also as trade finance is a very good example. So disintermediation will happen, continue to happen. Having said that, in certain areas you need still intermediaries, and looking at this way we are developing and the people factor that we have, we can't rule out intermediaries. They are bound to stay. And mostly intermediary companies will be in the SME sector, small time people who will do business. So they are very important. And as I said, this 3,000 woman only channel that we have is very successful model. We're trying to make it more efficient, more cost effective, because we have to have a lot of investments in the beginning. We pay fixed comp, whereas in agents you normally pay only variable. So there are challenges there in the intermediary channel. How do we motivate? How do we incentivize? How do we spend and make it cost effective? So not necessarily intermediary means high commission and incurring a lot of cost. Commissions have come down already thanks to regulations. And so technology is also pervaded and made it. So a lot of products are being explained very well by IVR, by Robo. There was one company I saw in Powai, in Mumbai, with an exhibition, and Robo was explaining the complex insurance products so well. You touch and you get all sort of permutation and combination, robotics. So human robo or android, which was explaining the insurance product uh, in a Powai exhibition trade fair. So that's where we are heading. But intermediaries won't go away.
Very well, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sundar. Thank you very much. Now, the last question is to Mehjabeen. We have actually run out of time, but I want to hear from you, and I hope other speakers and audience would also love to hear from you. What is new in NBFCs? See, yesterday, a friend of mine incidentally got a Tata Capital loan of 40 lakh rupees to do a startup, incidentally. I asked him, how is that possible? So he said that they have given me this loan based on my personal credentials and not really taking a much of a hypothecation, not much of collaterals, knowing fully well that the money is going to be deployed on a no asset business, which is for having to build the startup. So I said, this is fantastic. This is very good. So it's a new business opportunity, which has been used by Tata Finance or Tata Capital. But I want to understand from you, what is new in terms of a roadmap of NBFCs beyond the lending to SMEs or lending to businesses and so on and so forth. Unmute.
I was unmute, yes, sorry. So to put it in 5 letters, I would say what is new? COVID. COVID is new. So what has actually happened is we have always been, I mean, as an NBFC space, been focusing on digitizing how much ever of our journey, customer journey as possible, and try to make it as contactless as possible. But there were certain avenues where we used to give in saying that इसमें तो customer interaction लगता ही है. Or for example, this is a certain piece of the journey where you really can't go the next mile without having actually met the customer or having actually done these XYZ things manually. But when we were like kind of forced into that corner with no option but to kind of do our business in a contactless manner, we actually got into the wind of the things wherein we kind of developed end-to-end customer journeys which were completely contactless. So here, as in a customer, right from the point where a customer inquires about a loan to the point where the loan is actually getting disbursed to the customer, we built upon journeys which were completely contactless. So wherein my sales can, just guide the person over a phone, send them links at various steps. There is no interaction even during KYC. We gave them options of doing an offline KYC, even for e-agreements, even for, let's say, the banking statement analysis, for their income analysis, everything we kind of build up a journey, a path wherein the customer can go online and do the stuff on their own. In fact, we can say that in the HL space, in the home loan space, where not many companies have gone to the way where they would be actually sanctioning a loan through an online journey. So because HL, as you know, a home loan is a very complex product. There are the checks and balances that you would do before granting a loan to anyone as compared to a retail loan like a personal loan or a used car loan would be very, very different. And the data collection that happens for these particular loan journeys, the amount of credit underwriting that you would want to do is going to be a much deeper level than you would do for the other product types. So typically companies have gone to the level where they generally kind of give a soft sanction or maybe just do some preliminary bureau checks or some FOIA checks and kind of run an eligibility and give it to a customer, prospective customer. From thereafter, a sales or a call center takes it up and then it goes into the deeper cycles. We actually devised a journey during these times wherein a customer from the level of applying to the various steps where their basic data entry happens, their detailed data entry happens, their scorecards are run on them, all the checks and balances by integrating with third-party services like Karza for employment verification, running a lot of rule engine in the background. We kind of developed a journey for them where they can get a hard sanction letter from us, using which they can and get through with this. So from an NBFC perspective, if I have to put it simply, we are looking at more and more contactless business with our customers. We are focusing a great deal on kind of reducing the TAT from the point a customer reaches out to us for a loan and to the point where we kind of hand over the amount to the customer. That TAT we are trying to reduce as much as possible and trying to come up with customized offerings of loan offerings to the various customer segments that we have today in the market. So that's a major focus for now.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mehjabeen. Thank you very much. And it's also music to the ears of for the ears of SME IT companies. When you say end-to-end contactless operations, it actually means a lot of work for the IT industry solution providers. So very
definitely,
nice.
sir. In fact, there are many points in our journeys where we struggle to have a technology solution available, and probably no one would have thought of it, or the need gap wasn't much enough before for people to kind of innovate and provide. And if we can get some solutioning from there, from these SME companies, it will be a win-win for both. 100%.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. So considering that we have run out of time, maybe because we started a little late, I would like to thank all of you, the distinguished speakers, Mehjabeen, Mr. Prasanna Lohar and Sundar Krishnan ji. Thank you very, very much for your extremely valuable insights. In fact, of many seminars which we have conducted or webinars which we have conducted, there's one thing which has come out extremely well differentiated for this webinar or this discussion has been that we should actually compile this as a storyboard for each of the industry separately and present it, because you have put in some very valuable insights, and I hope audiences have taken note, and we are able to discuss this in more detail in times to come. So thank you very much, and over to Neha, and hope to see you in good times. Stay safe. Thank you, audience. You have been nice on a working day to come and attend an NASSCOM webinar. Of course, if you give me an opportunity to be with a CXO, CIO of a BFSI company, I will come on Sunday or at 12 o'clock in night at any point of time. Because truly, these are gods of the industry. They are the people who understand. They drive the future of the entire business, and therefore they drive the future of the IT industry. So extremely valuable insights, and thank you very much, audience being there. Thank you, the speakers, and of course, thank you, NASSCOM team. Neha, over to you.
Thank you, Hanuman sir. Once again, I would like to take an opportunity to thank our distinguished panelists. It was a very insightful session, and I'm sure audience would have benefited out of it. Also, I would like to thank the audience to join us for this session. Thank you
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Have a good day. Bye
You
bye.
go,
Yeah,
thank you.
you too.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day,
Very much.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.